Sunday Papers podcast with your host Greg and Mike. Something you know when you come. Thursday I'm all alone. It's Sunday Papers. It's Saturday, here we come. It's Sunday Papers, and Sundays always.
Read all about it. Read all about it. Extra, extra. Sunday Papers. Coming in from Los Angeles and Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes,
Curious.
ma'am. I got to turn this volume up a little here.
Curious why Mike Gibbons is so often doing the podcast from Nashville, Tennessee.
It is not that often, and you also know the answer. So I am seeing a beautiful woman who you've met, and so I find myself down here.
Mike's got a girlfriend.
And I have really sort of, I've fallen in love with Nashville, which, there's also Wheeler Walker Jr. down here.
Yeah.
That's another love of mine.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so, and it's quite wintry here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, despite being the South.
And so, do you want to give people the breakdown a little bit? How long have you been dating this wonderful one who I've met? She's a fantastic. She's very smart. She's very cool. She's a cool person.
Yeah.
And seems like a very caring individual.
Yeah. I don't like, as you know, talking too much about personal stuff unless it's making fun of my daughters.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's everything. Yeah, it's great. She's everything you just said, and been dating a while, and yeah, it's great. So that explains why I am sitting here in Nashville.
All right. Good enough. Good job, Mike. I know it's hard for you to, express emotions or be vulnerable in any way. So that was a good 10 seconds of you actually opening up.
I don't even like talking about my relationship with you.
I know.
And we do a podcast every week together.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you for asking. And what else? I'm hanging Christmas lights right after this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in a very unlike LA, although you're rocking a pretty nice hat right now.
Well,
it's cold here.
It's about to rain here for a couple days, and they say the snowstorms are going to be unbelievable up in the Sierras, and the skiing is going to be world class. So,
oh wow!
I think we're going to try to run up and ski for a day or two if we can next week.
I don't think I have the green light for that for a while. Although it's so funny. So I just had my hip
with
replaced,
the hip,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but surgeons are really truly so many of them are like godlike. So I think I might have mentioned this to you. So the surgeon who I just had a follow-up meeting with is like, you can do anything you think you can do. And, meanwhile, physical therapy is like, whoa. He's not telling the truth. Like it's not, but he's so proud of his work. He's like, yeah, if you want to go skiing, go ahead. I'm like, well, when does it totally, anyway. So I could, according to the surgeon, go skiing, but I know I should not.
No, take it easy.
Yeah.
And also, I might sound a little stuffed up. I had a severe head cold for the last couple of days. I had a temperature. I was like, you ever get so achy and sore that it actually feels better to walk slowly and like stretch rather than sit still? Because once you sit still, you're in just agony.
You just kind of were mimicking that or pantomiming it or whatever it is with your body. And you looked like a cat the day before it's going to die. You look like an old cat who is just trying to get one more stretch in.
Yeah.
And
our
can
friend
barely
Mary
walk
Fitzgerald
around.
had a cat that was like that, and it was on her last leg for about 3 years. And you'd go to her house, and the cat would it would take 5 minutes to walk across the room. We're like, why are you keeping this fucking thing alive? That's how I felt. I felt like that to my wife. Why are you keeping me alive right now?
And that's from you, who kept 2 dogs alive way past their due date. Way past.
But you know what? You know why I think I got the cold, and maybe people can weigh in on this.
Because God hates you.
I got the COVID booster and the flu shot on the same day, on Tuesday. And then I was mildly sick for a day or two, and then it hit me hard on on Thursday.
Yeah, mine were separated, but I forgot both. I had 0 symptoms, and I'm very surprised. COVID is. I guess we're not going to talk about it, but it is a news item. I guess. Wait. Some country is shut. Masks are back in New York. I think I read that headline.
Really?
Yeah, and again, fact check us as always, because who knows? But I'll look it up now. But I guess the numbers are increasing.
Wow.
So, mass back on in New York. Hospitals near capacity in Kansas.
Huh?
Yeah.
Kansas.
I know. I don't know
knew?
what that means. I can look it up.
But do you think it's possible that the vaccine caused me to get sick?
Well, they say people
Or
do
the
have
flu shot.
reactions.
Oh,
Well, the
yeah.
flu shot, they say, I don't know. I mean, I think they say no. I mean, it can't give you the flu, or maybe in the rarest cases or something.
Yeah.
But I'd say generally to your questions, no.
But I have sexual fantasies all week about Bill Gates. Is that weird?
No, that's the vaccine.
Okay.
That is the vaccine, yes.
So
That's why he tracks you. He wants to know when you're coming.
Right.
You're going to make your way up to Seattle or wherever he is. Check. Is this loud enough? I think
So
it is.
JoJo's got a new job.
Check. What is that?
She's working over at Penmar. She's
What?
serving food at Penmar. Yeah.
Can she please tell us what's broken with the system over there?
We'll find out. We're going to find out from the inside why the service is traditionally not great at the Penmar Golf Club.
Little public golf course, little kind of rundown public golf course in Venice.
It's kind of our country club.
It is very much our country club.
We're there every Friday and sometimes more.
I would
And
say the most diverse country club in America.
It is. Yeah.
Certainly up there if you're going to call it a country club.
Yeah. And so she's just like at the espresso bar right now and serving coffees and pastries. And I'll tell you what, man, I was like, how much you getting paid? She's like, minimum wage plus tips. I go, well, how much is minimum wage? And she's like, I think it's like $15 or $16. And then tips, I think you get a fair amount of tips working. I mean, it's literally, there's a line where she's selling things the entire time. And I'm sure she's getting a tip on every single transaction, right? So that's going to be some serious dough.
Especially now, as everyone makes fun. Now that, anywhere you see an iPad, it's like now I'm tipping for something I never tipped for before,
I know. Well,
So
Starbucks
yes.
just started adding a tipping thing on credit card charges.
Oh, really?
They never had a tip jar. They never had the tipping option. And
that's kind of like what I like their mobile app. No option. Well, there's probably an option for tipping, but I've never seen it.
Well, they basically, tipping is a way for restaurants to not have to pay their employees a living wage because they can pay them less and say, let the customer make up the difference between what they should be making and what they are making.
Then there's those restaurants in Venice I've seen, and maybe elsewhere in LA, where not only is gratuity added, or sometimes it's not, but there's been like a 3% added for the healthcare or the well-being of the employees.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
So there's that all of a sudden.
Well, Owen went to the Comedy Store on Thursday night to see me with his friends. He brought 3 friends.
Nice.
Which was cute. Yeah, they sat out there and they pre-gamed, had a few drinks, and then they got to the club. And, it's a 2-drink minimum, which I got them on the list. The last time he went, they comped them. So I think he thought that they were going to comp their drinks again.
Yeah.
And so they were ordering doubles and all this, and the bill was like $260
Oh,
for the 4 of them.
no.
Yeah. So
And you're like, I got paid $40 to be here.
30. Yeah.
Oh, no. All right.
Now you start thinking about the numbers of like, they're getting $260 a table. There's probably 50 tables in there. So do the math on that. And the comedians are each making $30. And there's like 6 comedians on the show. So they're paying out less than $200, and it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right.
It's a store. It's a good, and there's products. They're moving
Yeah.
product. It's a
Right,
store.
right.
I was at the store this week. I think it was Wednesday, maybe. No, Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. And I don't know how much I can talk about, but it's this, oh no, it's public. They put it on Instagram. It's these roasts that have been organized. And Whitney Cummings, I believe, is the producer. And she's doing it with OnlyFans. Had you heard about it before I mentioned it to you?
Yeah, of course.
No. I mean, these roasts on OnlyFans?
Yeah. I mean, Whitney's been telling me about it for the last couple months.
Oh, yeah.
She had a writer's room. She had like a...
Yeah.
It was a full production. I mean, I think OnlyFans spent some serious money on it.
I think so. I mean, I think there were 12 cameras, which, by the way, I've worked on the, very professional roasts that air on Comedy Central, and there's less cameras there, I believe. Anyway, there were 12 cameras in the Comedy Store in that main room, and it was quite a production. And so she was the subject of the first roast, and this one was Bert Kreischer. And then I remember telling you after it, the first roaster to go up was Jim Norton, and he destroyed. And, the best case scenario in a lot of these is someone will go up on a roast and nail someone so perfectly, you're like, that's it. Like, and generally when someone goes up, you're like, wow, no one can follow that. And the best roast are when people do follow it.
Right.
They have their own style and they find a way to nail the person and all that. And so that did not happen. I mean, there were good roasters after Hinchcliffe went after, so they front loaded it for sure. But, and I don't want to repeat any of the jokes, even though of course I've forgotten most, but Norton was so impressive. They were just super smart and, of course, edgy jokes. And I mentioned, and you said you've done a roast with him.
Yeah, we've roasted Mike Calta, which is he's a big radio guy down in Tampa. He's syndicated around the country now. So we went down. It was me and Jim Norton, and who else went down? Bert Kreischer went down, and we had this crazy roast, and he destroyed on that too. He's a good roaster. I mean, basically, anybody that did Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn is a good roaster because that's all that show was.
Yeah.
Well, so who else? It was Bert got roasted. It was Big J Okerson, Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yup. Donnell
Rawlings.
Whitney.
No other women?
Yes. What's her name?
Nikki Glazer?
No, not Nikki Glazer. She was flown in from New York. She's sorry, I'm just so spacey right now.
Rachel Feinstein?
Rachel Feinstein. That's exactly who it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know she's
great.
married to a firefighter, I guess. That was the topic of a lot of jokes.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, she went up and then I left a bit early. Like there was a long intermission. And
Mistake.
And then it came back and I didn't stay that long. Oh, Tom Segura did a video. He submitted a video piece where he roasted Bert via video. And a lot of people touched on it's quite an accomplishment to be one of the most embarrassing people from Florida, which is where Bert's from.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I don't want to step on it too much. I don't know when it airs. But man, there are some really good jokes, and especially Norton just killed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I went to a football game on Sunday. I was in Dallas, and Ari Shaffir took me to the Dallas game, and we saw what a stadium. Oh my God, it is like massive stadium, and the energy. I mean, these people are football fans. I mean, are there bigger football fans than Dallas in the country? I mean, I guess you got like Green Bay.
Get so many letters now. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Green Bay owns their team, by the way.
Yeah. It's crazy. But they give you sit down and there's a towel on your seat so you can wave the towel. And you got 100,000 people waving the towel and fucking screaming. And it's a dome, but they had the dome closed, thank God, because it was freezing in Dallas. And me and Ari we smoked a fatty before we went in, and then we
Yep.
just and it was cool because like, he gets noticed more than I do, but we both got noticed, and like it was really nice. People were very respectful. Took
Oh,
a bunch
nice.
of selfies, but it felt like the perfect mix of being left alone. Like the guy sitting right behind us was a big fan, but like he didn't say anything until the end, and then he like asked for a selfie, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I'm just glad no one stood their ground and shot you in the face.
Yeah,
and,
right.
They're probably giving you your space because they're too busy chasing down women who are seeking abortions.
Yeah.
So that good old Texas welcome.
Yeah, there's a lot more pregnant women than you'd expect to see. Seems like pregnancy is on the rise.
They're incentivized. Yeah.
So, all right. So
Nice.
let's get to it. We want to shout out Lawrence Tarpey, who made a beautiful logo for this week.
Yeah, that was cool.
Why did I
Thank
put
you,
it in?
Lawrence.
Should be in there. Mitchy Mitch did a very cool song. Mitchy Mitch contributes regularly to the show. We asked for new logos and songs last week. A lot of you answered the call. We got a bunch. Definitely
Yeah.
need more. Keep them coming. Fifth
That was
Dog
like
Radio.
there was little hints of 9-inch nails in there in a way.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Keep them coming. fitzdog@gmail.com. Some corrections came in that skewed a little hard on Mike. A little hard on Mike last week.
I love it.
Somebody wrote in, I don't have their name for some reason. Please just tell Mike that the football player was probably inarguably the best player. If there is no argument, and arguably is if there is some argument about it. Please don't mention on the air. I'm not looking for recognition.
Oh, boy.
It's just that he's always so careful about his speech, and this word is always used incorrectly. Okay?
I don't know if I wanted to use, I don't even know what he's talking about, or she, but I probably would say arguably. Like I remember,
Yeah, but you're supposed to say inarguably.
but I wasn't calling him the best. I can't imagine what football player I was calling the best. I don't know. Anyway, all right, note taken. But I remember my dad would always get upset when we were little if we said like the most. He'd be like one of the most. Like he always like left room.
Yeah.
And he hated when we spoke in such superlatives and with such like conviction, like that it wasn't up for debate or that someone else wouldn't have another opinion. So I rarely use inarguably.
I find that
Anyway.
Owen's generation is very into absolute superlatives. They want to talk about how LeBron James is the greatest player to ever play the game, and he's better than MJ. And
Yeah.
we have long fights about whether MJ was greater than LeBron. And I'm not that resolute about it myself. I happen to have lived during the time when Jordan was dominating and where he was magic and when he brought new life to the league. But I guess the numbers, if you look at the hard numbers, maybe LeBron is the greatest. But then you got Wilt Chamberlain, right?
Yeah.
Still got a lot of records.
I'm sure people are, it's definitely sports podcast material, but I think there's also you are looking at the context. In other words, how many stars did Jordan have on the team with him? And the answer was like almost zero, a little bit, and then of course Pippen stepped up. You know what I mean? And Rodman was this unbelievable monster under the boards. So,
Right.
But some people look at it that way.
Yeah, but I just think
that's
that
one of the big arguments against Kobe is he had maybe even a bigger superstar on his team, in Shaq.
right.
So anyway,
Yeah. So but I just find his generation is very much like that, though. They're very self-righteous, and it's annoying. I love my son, but I find him to be annoying sometimes.
especially with the $250 bar tab. No, you're right. I think. Well, listen. What you do learn as you go through life is those. I'm spacing on how to describe the word, but those nevers, always. They will almost always never help you. There, I used both words in the same
There
sentence.
you go.
But like, I remember, when you go to therapy and couples counseling or whatever, it's like, those are death, man.
Yeah.
Like, you never do this for me, or you always say that. It's like,
Yeah.
and you don't even have to be a married couple. Like, what happens is you're leaving the person thinking about the always or the never and the times they didn't do it. Just make it easier and saying, like, you tend to do this.
Right. By the way, France just defeated England. They had a penalty kick.
Wow.
With 0 time left on the clock. England had a penalty kick to tie it up, and the fucking guy kicked it right over the goal, which is they had 2 penalty kicks in the game. They kicked them both right over the goal, and one of them was actually from not far out at all. So they blew it on PKs.
I saw the PKs yesterday. I missed Brazil's, but I saw Argentina's.
Yeah.
But of course, now you're probably, Gibbons going to be furious at you because you just spoiled the England game for him. Were you on that text chain? Where he
when
went
Rabi
off
said,
on Rabi?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is a faux pas. You don't spoil scores on a thread with guys that watch sports.
And so many are watching this soccer on a little bit of a delay.
Right.
Yeah, and he was live commenting.
You know what's weird is my sister was in New York, and we were texting back and forth about the game, and she said something like, well, they're already up 2-1, and they were only up 1-1 on the live feed in L.A., and it was a full 3 minutes before the goal got scored on California.
Oh, maybe you should ask her about the Tampa Bay game right now. That's going to take place tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Williams says, seems as though someone that condescends to Southerners and the poor
me.
references Fahrenheit 451
yes.
and is in a privileged enough position to extend
yes.
his abuse of a special parking pass would
Absolutely.
also realize that frequent them often is retardedly redundant. Has Mike always come across as douchey, or is it only since he made some money? Love the show, Greg.
I have less money now, so
There's
I don't know how that works.
There's a lot to unpack there, Mike. You want to just go through it?
I frequent them often. Well, I guess, I don't know. I think he's right. But I mean, frequent, I guess I was using as visit or, patronize. Maybe that's the problem, is no matter what I do, I'm patronizing.
Yeah.
But no, you frequent them. I go to them often. But frequent does do that lifting, I guess, right?
I think if you say, I frequent a place, you don't say I frequent it often. I think he's dead on.
I don't know. It still seems incomplete to me. How often do you frequent it? Frequently. But it is also doing the lifting for, visiting or going to.
Well, what about the fact that he says that you have a privileged position and you condescend to Southerners and the poor?
The only thing I disagree with is the poor, unless they're poor Southerners. Is that what he's saying? The poor South, yes, I will. I absolutely do that. Guilty as charged. In fact, I frequently do that in a quite often way. And
what about this parking pass? Do you want to try to defend that?
Not a chance. I abuse the shit out of that thing. Not only that, when it expires, I'm punching a new hole in the thing. I'm getting another year. It's the greatest thing ever. I do have 2 titanium hips. That should count for something.
Daryl says, I'm not sure what's more shitty, Putin's trousers or your memory, Greg.
Oh,
Not 5
Jesus.
minutes into talking about watching The Crown, you report about the 1952 smog that killed 4,000 people in England. You were both bewildered. The exact event was the topic of an entire episode of The Crown's first season. You are not alone, though. My mind is also circling the drain these days.
Oh, Daryl brings it back. That's almost like that's like a great Dylan song, like Idiot Win, where you bitch, 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 and by the end it's like we're both idiots.
Yeah.
I'm innocent as charged. I have not seen The Crown. I never even heard about this smog, and I was bewildered last week by it.
Well, I will say that I've gotten to the age where I can easily reread a book and enjoy all the twists and turns for the first time all over again. I don't remember shit. I can rewatch a movie and not remember how it ends. It's great. It's so great.
It's you know what's unbelievable to me is how good our memories were. Like,
Yeah.
it was just a sponge. You watch things. People would ask you about a movie. You could talk about every scene.
Right.
Now it's like I just finished Better Call Saul. I don't even remember what happened at the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. Well, it's also like when I was at a certain age, I remembered everything. Like I just met up with my friend Gary Bazansky, and we talked for like an hour and a half, and then he goes, dude, you have a fucking crazy good memory. And I'm like, yeah.
Who are you?
From the ages of 8 to 18, I remember everything. I remember albums. I remember, like, I could tell you the track, every song on an album in order from that time. Name an album.
I know.
Name an album from that time. Some Girls by the Rolling Stones, my favorite. Miss You, Some Girls, Respectable, Beast of Burden, Shattered. That was side 1.
Wow.
Side 2, Just My Imagination. What's the country one? Faraway Eyes.
Yep. Just
Yeah,
meeting a friend, waiting on a friend. Is that on that
No,
album?
that's a different album.
Oh, look at you. See, try to trick you.
And now I don't know that I have memorized the lyrics to a song in 20 years at this point.
No, I know. We could all talk about that. Like, I remember my home phone number. I remember phone numbers of friends when I was little. I don't even know my daughter's cell phones. And here's the thing. Of course, you're like, oh, well, you never see it. I literally, right here, I have a Post-it because those are 2 phone numbers I really need to know. Because if my phone gets lost and I'm out, we're with them somewhere.
Right.
I have no way to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
Or if my battery dies or whatever.
And you can't
and
call
I've
information.
tried to commit them to memory. They're just meaningless numbers. It makes
Yeah.
no sense to me. I don't have that muscle that just takes meaningless data and just files it in order so I can have it at my disposal.
Do you know my phone number?
I do know it because you have your dumb little saying about it.
No.
I'm not going to say it, but I do know it. 2 words. 2 words.
I'm trying to think if I can remember your phone number in New York.
Oh, I wouldn't know it. It was 212 still, wasn't I old school?
Yeah.
I don't know it.
3815 are the last 4 numbers of it.
Zero memory of any of those numbers. Nothing even sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Do you remember your dates that covered up?
The dates of what?
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
I was trying to segue into your dates. But wait, there's one more criticism of me?
Alan Sylvester. That's a weird last name. I was watching the super shitty movie Go from the late 90s, and there's a scene at the end where Timothy Olyphant and Katie Holmes are eating in a diner. Olyphant starts shitting on Family Circus, saying how much it sucks. Coincidence? Did Mike write on the movie, or is it possible that Mike has stolen his I Hate Family Circus bit? Feels like Mike has too much integrity to steal from a shitty movie, but I thought I'd ask. Love the pod. Listen every week.
Did I write the shitty movie? Was that one of the questions?
You did not write on Go.
I remember kind of liking the movie a little bit. It was like so independent. It was hard to root against it. But no, we both of us are aware of that. That's been brought to our attention. I have no memory of that at all.
Well, look, I mean, there's the Nietzsche Family Circus takeoff where somebody writes Nietzschean quotes under them. No, it's well trod territory. We're not breaking new ground on making fun of Family Circus.
No. I don't remember that being in the movie, which I did see the movie, but I also remember Family Circus making no goddamn sense for decades, and to everybody. It's just universally despised.
You know what does make sense?
Going
to the Atlanta Punchline on January 19th through the 21st.
Sure does.
Or Portland, Helium Comedy Club, January 26th through the 28th. And Philly, Helium, March 9th through the 11th. Go to fitzdog.com for tickets. Should we get to the front page?
I don't have paper. Do you have paper?
I got it.
Oh, look at you.
Extra! Extra!
All right, you're going to have to read some of these because my voice is going.
Oh, boy, what a switch. All right, this is your story. Samuel Bateman, a self-proclaimed prophet of the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in other words, Mormons, had 20 wives, many of whom were under the age of 15, according to an FBI investigation. Bateman drank wine and had sex with a male follower. Oh, that gets more interesting. In a motel room in Lincoln, Nebraska, in front of his underage wives, some of whom were Johnson's own daughters.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. The guy he slept with's name was Johnson. So he brought his daughters and I guess slept. So the FBI said the women and girls were required to stand naked and watch the, quote, binding of brothers. Bateman
More like
also,
the bending of brothers.
Bateman also forced his wives to have sex with other male followers, the documents say. He maintained that he was acting under instructions from, quote, Heavenly Father, and told the girls that they had sacrificed their virtue for the Lord.
That's so
Whoa.
sweet. I always love take your daughter to work day.
Take your daughter to a depressing motel and watch daddy have sex with with another
God.
man day. The headline should have been Mormons know how to party. A lot has been said about Mormons recently, you know, like all these murder docs and true crime docs and all that. But quite to the contrary of their most popular image of being boring, is they are far from clean cut and God serving. That's for sure.
It's just religion is such a cover up. You just think about, like, if he had tried to pull this off without invoking God, the girls would have been like, what are we doing? Why are we naked in a hotel room watching you fuck my sister? You know, it's like, I thought as a Catholic going into a dark booth and having an old, drunken pedophile listen to my dirtiest thoughts, I thought that was creepy.
You think? Do you still think that? That's weird.
God.
Yeah.
And what else? And why do you masturbate? And what do you think about when you masturbate? How do you do it?
Oh. Next story. Slave wages. A reparations task force in California announced that descendants of slaves could receive more than $200,000 to compensate for the enduring impact of racism and slavery today. A nine-member panel created by Governor Gavin Newsom examined the impacts of racism and slavery. According to the New York Times, which reviewed the report, the panel estimated that around $569 billion should be given as compensation to around 2 million black individuals living in the state as a result of housing discrimination that occurred between 1933 and 1977.
Wait a
Wow.
minute. Is it for slavery or is it reparations for housing discrimination? I'm confused because I don't believe there was much slavery in California.
Well, it's descendants of slaves,
Okay.
and it's the enduring impact of
I
racism
see.
and slavery. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
do you
good
remember,
luck finding a... Go ahead, yeah.
Do you remember the Chappelle sketch? It was actually a couple. He did it at least twice. The sketches about blacks getting reparations in this country.
I don't remember them exactly, but
Oh
I know
my
he did it.
God. I really think it might have been the sketch that made him quit doing the show in terms of like how he was portraying black people.
Right.
It was
yeah.
like, you know, the richest black guy, you know, they all have money and they're all like, you know, it's Donnell Rawlings in a truck. He's got a delivery truck filled with cigarettes. And he's like, I'm rich, biatch. That's where it comes from. That's where that line comes from.
Right.
And like Chappelle is playing dice and he's the richest black man in America. It was really like, it was crazy. They're all lined up outside a liquor store.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, good luck finding a 3-bedroom home in Los Angeles for just $569 billion.
Yeah, right.
Too late. It's not going to help at all.
Yeah, what does that break down to? 506. Denman, calculate 569 billion divided by 2 million. So I guess you have to prove that you were a descendant.
Well, it says they could receive more than $200,000.
Oh, okay. But you have to prove you were a descendant. So, or you don't get the money. And I wonder, it's a weird conundrum. Do you hope and pray that your ancestors were slaves, or in some psychic way do you think, I hope they weren't slaves and they didn't have to suffer through that, but then I don't get the money?
Also, was there great paperwork with slaves? Like, especially when they had to be freed?
Right.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Or,
Denman says 284,000 each.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're not gonna find a condo in LA for $284,000.
Well, some are going to get more and some are going to get less, because I'm sure they'll look it up and they'll be like, all right, kind of bad news. Your great-great-great-grandfather was the white slave owner. So just half of that lineage was a slave.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be tricky.
Totally.
San Francisco couple Ansel and Adeline Easton married in 1857 and planned a long, extravagant honeymoon on the East Coast. The ship left Panama for New York City. A hurricane swept up the vessel, throwing it across the waves and battering the crew. It sank. A handful of women and children, including Adeline Easton, were able to make it to lifeboats. Most of the men died. The shipwreck was recovered in 1980. The most eye-catching is the earliest known pair of 5-button fly heavy-duty work pants believed made by Levi Strauss. These could sell now at auction for $1 million or more, the world's most valuable jeans. Who's at the auction? Dave Navarro's there. Mark Maron is right up front.
What? Imagine, like, we're going down. Grab the silver and jewels. No, grab the weird blue work pants that are like a burlap bag.
Yeah. Grab those really uncomfortable stiff pants.
I got a feeling. I just got a feeling they're going to be really valuable, more valuable than those rubies one day.
Right. I guess they were in a trunk, and the trunk was sealed in a way that preserved them.
Now, was the button fly, Chris, when was the zipper invented? I mean, was button fly the standard?
Think about the zipper. I mean, what an invention. Somebody invented it and they patented it.
You know, you can stick like a small, like the end of a paper clip if you straighten it out. You can stick that anywhere in a closed zipper and it'll just open.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Good hack.
I believe they show that. Like, that's why suitcases are so easy to break. You know, that you lock a zipper, I think, is BS, I believe. All right, 1892.
Whitcomb Judson. Oh, yeah.
1892
Whitcomb Judson
was the
invented
zipper.
them in 1892. But before that, everything had to be buttoned. There was only buttons. And then all of a sudden, there's this new thing where you can just quickly zip up your coat, zip up your fly.
Oh, I wonder if there were snaps. When were snaps invented? I know Velcro was late. Do you know about the invention of Velcro?
No.
I probably have this wrong, but a guy studied. He was so pissed off at how unbelievably clingy burrs, when he would go on like a hike, when the burrs would grab his like pants, that he put it under a microscope and he saw how it grabbed, and he replicated that for Velcro.
Wow. I feel like
maybe
Velcro.
A wow. Wow might be too much.
No, I mean, I think Velcro is this amazing invention that was never used right. Like, remember sneakers that had Velcro? Why are we not using sneakers with Velcro still? I mean, it's so easy and it's so strong.
You are really old. Okay. Well, there is super strong Velcro. And I mean, remember when Letterman, for the kids out there, Letterman put on a Velcro suit and ran onto a trampoline and then stuck on a wall. His Velcro stuck to the wall.
Yes, when I got out of college and I was just starting to do stand-up, I got hired by Reebok to do this. It was called the Campus America Tour. And we would go from school to school. We had like 2 18-wheelers and a couple of vans.
Yeah.
And we would go from school to school, and we would set up the Velcro wall. We had like Nerf guns, and there was just like all these activities. And I would run around
Nice.
with a wireless microphone and a Reebok jumpsuit and just shit on people for like 4 hours a day. It was an awesome gig.
And then you'd put on a Velcro suit and then jump on a woman who had a nice sweater on that the Velcro would stick to.
Hey now.
1885 were snaps. How about that? Wow, what a time. The late 1800s. What a time for garments.
Yep.
All right.
Elizabeth Finch, who had served as a writer and consulting producer on ABC's Grey's Anatomy, has given an interview in which she admitted that she lied about her health and personal life. Finch said she had never had any form of cancer. What I did was wrong, not okay, fucked up, all the words. Finch had made up past stories about her life, including having been diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer, as well as losing a kidney and part of her leg. How do you lie about losing part of your leg? She taped a dummy catheter to her arm and shaved her hair to feign that she was undergoing chemotherapy. I really miss it. I miss my fellow writers. It's like a family. And one of the things that makes it so hard is that they did rally around a false narrative that I gave. She resigned and sought inpatient treatment before an investigation by the show began. She also lied to a colleague by telling her brother died of suicide when he was actually alive and living in Florida. She told the publication she did feel guilty for the false stories, and it's resulted in both the loss of work and some family members disowning her.
All right, so just before we get to the jokes, so this story is like from earlier this year or something, or maybe even last year, but this is her first interview. So this has been talked about a lot, and this is what is not included in there now. So when she brought up her illness, it created a storyline for Grey's Anatomy, and she then wrote multiple episodes.
Wow.
About it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my take is, listen, I've been in the sitcom writer's room, so have you. Like, please, I don't care where it comes from. Does someone have a story? Like, we got to do 22 of these motherfucking things.
Right.
And so many people lie about stories anyway. You'll be like, I used to go to this really mean soup guy in Midtown. Like, Spike Firsten did do that. He was the guy that pitched it. But I'm saying, if any of your friends tell you a story, you'll bring it into work and be like, oh, that happened to me. You know what I mean? And you're not going to get fired for that.
Of course. No,
So,
I've pitched stories in writers' rooms for my life and written episodes about them. Happens all the time. I mean, that's what Lucky Louie was. He wanted writers
totally.
that had kids because we all would just write stories about stuff that had happened in our lives. But
with that said, I think she had a lying problem. Listen, sorry guys, I lied, but I was being held hostage by a cell of Al Qaeda in Glendale. Okay, I'm sorry again. That's not true either. If I don't tell 3 lies a day, this madman's going to blow up a bus that's driving around Los Angeles that cannot go less than 50 miles an hour. Oh, does that one sound familiar? Okay, I'm sorry.
I just feel bad for the brother who's in Florida, and she's saying he committed suicide. It's like, can you at least, if I say I died, but like maybe I saved a kid from a burning building, or my dick was so big that I lost blood to my brain.
I do want the missing limb. I am interested. How do you lie about that?
Yeah, maybe she sawed it off. But that's like that comedian. I'm not going to say his name because I really like him. But he lied about being in the towers on 9/11.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, I mean, look, we all lie. Everybody lie. Not everybody. I guess there's some people. Maybe there's some people that don't lie at all. But we all tell little white lies, and then you get caught in it. And it's the most embarrassing thing in the world when you get caught. And it's the only reason you don't lie is because it's embarrassing when you get caught. But this is so high profile.
Reason. Yeah. Well, she was an asset to the show, so there's that. I think she's going to work again.
You think so?
If she gets over this debilitating disease, I think she'll go right back to work. Why not?
All right, it's time.
Oh yeah.
Good news for Gibbons.
All right, I was on this text chain, and I saw it unravel, but I don't know what happened.
Well, I mean, it's insane. Dennis Gibbons is he's not afraid of a bong in the morning, and so he starts this text chain for 3 days. He's texting about, does anyone want to go see this movie? Something about like the Night of Terror or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, why not? It's the middle of the day, weekday. Fuck it, let's go to a movie. So he says, all right, 2:00. Great, 2:00. Which I go, why don't we go Marina Del Rey? No, let's go on Jefferson. Okay, we'll go to the one on Jefferson.
Yeah, he had strong opinions about the whole day.
And then he asked me which time. I picked the time, and now it's like a 2:00 movie. I'm driving there, and I call him just to see where we're going to meet up in front of the theater.
Yeah.
And he's like, at home, about to leave to go to Penmar to have lunch. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Between him and Mikey Fitzgibbon. Mikey Fitzgibbon, like, booked the wrong day on a tea time. I'm at the golf course. There's no tea time. The next day we go for a hike. I get to the hill, and he's not there. And I call him. Oh, sorry, man. I mean, what the fuck? These are social contracts. You make a time and you show up.
Oh my God, that's perfect. That is perfect. No, I made it clear I couldn't go to that movie, but I watched you guys keep talking about it. He rejected your proposal to go to Marina Del Rey. He picked the exact time, and then all of a sudden, I see an apology from him. That was
it was
the next
such
thing.
a half-ass apology.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but
All right. Well, that's how
all
he
right.
rolls.
Let's get to entertainment.
Oh yeah.
You want to read this one?
Yeah, sure thing. Celine Dion, my favorite, has canceled upcoming shows for her European tour after revealing on Thursday that she's been diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, SPS. The rare, I don't think it's that rare, the rare incurable neurological condition can cause extreme muscle rigidity and painful spasms that can ultimately restrict mobility.
My
What?
cock had that when I was younger. Now it has Bell's palsy.
Okay. By the way, does Celine really have to get a formal diagnosis that she's stiff?
Yeah.
And I wonder, I'm not even joking, has she suffered this in some way her whole life? Because she is the most rigid appearing performer.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
So-
she's totally stiff. She's an automatron. She belongs in Vegas doing one of these residencies where you just show up every night and you just mail it in, and then you get frozen into some cryo chamber for the night, and then they thaw you out to do the show again the next night. By the way, the stiff person syndrome, that's how my body feels when I hear a Celine Dion song. I go stiff. I just can't believe that this sound is coming out and that people actually pay and want to listen to it.
SPS, I'm thinking, is going to be a new storyline in Grey's Anatomy when they hire that writer back, because she is gonna rigidly walk in that room, apologize to everybody. She'd say, "I would normally kowtow, but I cannot bend at the hips, so I'm just going to sit at the head of the table and tell you all about my SPS."
As a matter of fact, I'm going to stand at the head of the table. I really, with this condition, I can't sit.
Oh man. All right, Netflix has released the series Harry and Meghan. The first 3 episodes of the bombshell show are now streaming, I guess. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex discuss Megxit, racism, and their new life in series-rocking royal family. I guess that's what it's called. In episode 1, Prince Harry and Meghan filmed themselves on the day they quit as frontline royals in March 2020. In episode 2, Duke of Sussex compares himself his wife to, In episode 2, Duke of Sussex compares his wife to his mother, Diana, and says she was being hunted by media. In episode 3, Harry and Meghan have branded their engagement in 2017, and they called it an orchestrated reality show. All right.
All right. Well, we know how this ends. I mean, just get to the sex tape. She's got the Duchess of Sussex. She's got a crown on, and she blows Harry while paparazzi circle them in a circle jerk. I'm in.
We've seen the good. She's been a a suitcase girl on whatever that game show was.
Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, they filmed themselves the day they quit. That's perfect. They knew they would show this brave act one day and cash in on it. And episode 2, Harry compares Meghan to his mother. What was that like? You are just like my mom, except my mom was strong enough to endure the family and stay married for 15 years, where she was president or patron of over 100 charities and was truly hands-on with 7 of them that helped fight AIDS, poverty, and the disabled. And in 1998 alone, her fund gave $21.3 million to charities. So even after her death, she was helping millions of the less fortunate. And you, my love, you were on the show Suits. Then we got married in May 2018. 7 months later, you were so put off by the family, you told me you didn't want to live anymore. And by the end of 2019, we quit the family and moved to Hollywood and told anyone who would listen and pay us millions of dollars about your incredible struggle. Yes, just like my mom would have done.
Wow. A stinging indictment by Mike Gibbons. Not a fan of
not a
Meghan
fan.
Markle. Wow.
I am not a fan.
Let me tell you something. My kids used to watch that show Suits. I think she had stiff body syndrome and that she was fucking horrible. She was so dead. There was nothing.
Well, it's even more dead now. Oh my
wow.
God!
I didn't realize that Diana had done all that. That's amazing. 100 charities.
Listen, there's a lot of criticisms that can be hurled her way as well, but also she really did try to put a human face. She was dealing with the same, a lot of the same stuff. Obviously, there's race in this, but it's an insane family. It's an insane situation. And
yeah,
you already had that template. You know that guy. That's why it's so different, for her. Like, she knew it going in. And to be surprised by racism is insanity with the royal family.
Speaking of racism, the Backstreet Boys Christmas special, filmed this month.
Racism.
It will no longer air on ABC. The news comes amid allegations that singer Nick Carter raped a 17-year-old girl during the band's 2001 tour.
Uh-oh.
Something tells me there was more than one rape on those tours. It was set to air on December 14th, featuring Seth Rogen, Meghan Trainor, Rob Riggle, Nikki Glazer, Ron Funches, and Atsuko Akatsuka. Who's that?
Yeah. I don't know. It sounded very impressive, though.
Ron Funches is getting on shit lately. All of a sudden you're seeing Ron Funches on everything.
Yeah.
On Thursday, a 39-year-old woman, Shannon Shea Ruth, filed a sexual battery lawsuit accusing the singer of raping her and infecting her with HPV when she was 17.
Oh.
She alleged the assault took place on February 2001 following a Backstreet Boys concert in Tacoma. Ruth, who identified herself as autistic and living with cerebral palsy, claimed Carter, 21 at the time, forced himself on her as she, quote, begged him to stop.
Oh, no.
And later allegedly told her that she was a, quote, retarded little bitch who no one would believe if she spoke up.
Wow. Oh, Nick. Oh, boy.
I want it that way. Tell me why.
Well, listen, you never want to blame the victim, but did she expect a decent boy? He's from the back streets. Track 6 of their debut album. It was called Boys Will Be Boys.
Oh.
I mean, you were warned.
Yeah.
This is a tough kid.
From the back streets.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They were from the back streets of Orlando. They auditioned for this gig in Orlando and they picked the sweetest boys. All these boy bands are fucked up. Like New Kid, there was so many New Kids on the Block too. Well, first of all, Donnie Wahlberg, I think, was in that, right? He was in New Kids.
I think he was on New Kids. Yeah.
Yeah. There was some dirt on him.
You know what I heard, and I'm sure someone can write in about this, but I think they're Kentucky, not Nashville, but Kings of Leon were a religious band.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think there's 2 brothers in the band, maybe 3, but I think 2, and they were religious. And I think I know, I'm not going to say it, but I think I know the name of the manager who saw this potential and steered them towards the music that they're doing now. And their fame took off, like, which is, you know, your Sex is on Fire, like very far away from their religious roots. And it was not their idea. It was not their natural music, and it wasn't their inclination to go that way. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but someone can write in and maybe validate me or tear my argument apart.
I love Kings of Leon. They're fucking awesome.
Oh, Oklahoma. Father was a preacher. They did revivals. Oh, all right. Chris just wrote that. Yeah, but I do believe that there was a very orchestrated marketing pivot with that band.
But, dude, Backstreet Boys they're the biggest boy band in history. Bigger than Menudo, bigger than all of them.
Sounds like a Greg Fitzsimmons fact. I look forward to the corrections next week.
No, they were huge. Huge.
The Beatles?
And they actually stuck together all these years. I mean, I'm sure they took some breaks, but they're still doing shit.
I mean, Boys to Men, I mean, legitimately good singers and all that. I mean, that's a giant one, right? And wait, what about, where was Timberlake? New Kids on the Block? In Sync. You don't think In Sync was bigger?
Nope. I'm telling you, Backstreet Boys was huge. They had an album that had like all the songs became hit singles on one of the albums. They were huge.
All right, I'm gonna hold off. But also
Menudo
was fantastic. They would just replace. Menudo was like an idea that got filled by different boys.
Did you see that documentary
on Menudo?
Yeah.
No, I'd love to.
Oh, there's a great documentary on Menudo about that whole thing and how they just used these boys up and spit them out.
Oh, brutal. Please tell me it was the Mormon Church. Then it's the most blockbuster documentary of all time.
Sad note, on January 1st, Caroline's Comedy Club on Broadway will close down after 4 decades. Owner Caroline Hirsch, who's a dear friend of mine, told the Post, "I did not renew my lease. New Year's Eve will be our last." She said, although business rebounded strongly since the pandemic, their lease was due and was reset at the end of the year. My landlord felt they can get a lot more for the space. I love how restrained she is. She's not saying this guy's a fucking douchebag. What an asshole. She's just like very respectfully pointing it out. By the way, good luck replacing that venue. Who the fuck is going to want a basement in Times Square? What are you going to do with it besides a comedy club?
It's a staircase straight down to under the street from the sidewalk.
Right, with homeless, crazy people hanging around out front.
Is the strip club still there? That can't be there still, is it?
Yep, it's still there, right next door.
What's the name of it?
Runway 69.
No, is it really?
I think so.
No, Flash Dancers, isn't that?
Oh, is it Flash Dancers?
Is it a few blocks away? There used to. I have no idea.
It's on the
Everything
corner
in New
of
York.
49th and Broadway. But anyway, I have such amazing memories of Caroline's. Basically, they moved around a lot. They started out in Soho as a cabaret in like 1980.
Wow.
And then it moved to the South Street Seaport when the Seaport was nothing. It was like a nothing neighborhood. And she set up there. And then they started doing Caroline's Comedy Hour, which they did for like 6 seasons. And then she divorced her husband. And the only thing she wanted in the divorce was the comedy club. He had a lot of money. And she took the comedy club. And she fucking ran it. She moved it up to Broadway. And then she started producing. She produces a lot of the events for the New York Comedy Festival.
Nice.
But
I remember it in the Seaport.
When my book came out, I wanted my book signing there, so I did a big show with Attell and Kevin Meaney, and my mom and my family was there, and we did my book signing. It was like one of the first clubs to headline me in the country, and had sex with a waitress in the bathroom once.
Whoa.
Yep.
That I didn't. Yeah, that she didn't mention that. Caroline
didn't
in the closing announcement.
I read the Post one. The New York Times one might have mentioned it.
Maybe, fingers crossed. She's just, publicizing this because it was very neutral. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of matter of fact. Maybe she's using that as leverage. Like, this is how serious I am. Like, that's all I can pay.
Right. Well,
And maybe it'll.
I don't know. It sounds pretty official. The first time I did Letterman, I promoted Caroline's in my plug. And I just texted Attell because, for 20 years, he does the New Year's Eve show at Caroline's.
Oh,
and,
man.
So I just texted him. He's like, yep, I'll be there. I'll be there from the 28th to the 31st. If anybody wants to go see the end of Caroline's, get your tickets now. I wish I could be there.
What a way to close it out with Attell on New Year's.
I know.
That sounds great.
So, finally finished season 1 of White Lotus. Did you see it?
So the finale came out last Sunday.
Of season 2. I just watched season 1.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm a bad listener. I have not finished season 2. I did finish season 1. What did you think?
I just thought it was so charming. I thought it was interesting. I thought, here's a big, broad premise, and it's going to be corny and hacky.
Yeah.
And they avoided a lot of tropes. And they found interesting ways to turn the story, to explore characters, and at the same time, you still had all the sexiness of the premise running through it. I thought it was a fantastic series.
How in love did you fall with the general manager and his drug
amazing.
habit? I couldn't take my eyes off him anytime he was on camera.
Yep.
He was so good, and I believe he won the Emmy. I believe all of them won the Emmy for season 1.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And also, I didn't even guess right up till the end. I mean, I guess it's a spoiler for people, but the show begins by showing, just like season 2, the very first image, really, the first scene is you are aware that someone has died.
Yes.
And it's very useful because I would have given up on season 2. Season 2 has gotten, this is what I'll say about season 2. I just watched episode 5. I'm not going to talk about story. I just watched episode 5, and the whole thing's being shot in Sicily, and they go to, I think, Palermo, and there's scenes in an opera house that it's like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And then there's this apartment also that is unbelievably ornate and also beautiful. Like, it's just, all along it's been beautiful scenes of Sicily, but it really hit a next level in episode 5. So I'm going to finish it this weekend. I was, as you know, complaining a lot about season 2, but whatever, I'm going to finish it. It is definitely like, Italian beauty porn.
Yeah.
So that's going on, for sure.
But what about the beauty of Sydney Sweeney and Alexandra Daddario? They're both so sexy.
Yeah, those are the bratty kids, right?
No. The one's the bratty kid. The other one is the woman who just got married, the newlywed.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, she wasn't shy about her gifts, her maternal gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought Sydney Sweeney did some good acting. I thought she was really good.
I don't even know. That's her?
Sydney Sweeney is one of the daughter that has the black friend with her.
Oh, well, yeah, and she got super famous for the Zendaya show, whatever.
Euphoria?
Utopia. Euphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but, yeah, it definitely makes room for, season 1 had quirkier people, and I love the dad, the scenes in the swimming pool with him and his son.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we'll stop talking about it, but that Mike White said HBO called him, and it was the pandemic. It was still going on, and they're like, we've had an interruption in our pipeline of content. You're a fast writer. Do you have anything? And he said, I do. I have this. And so what you're seeing, because it felt weird and like, and also I didn't really get the tone. I remember it took a while to find the kind of tone. He's like, what you're really watching is a first draft. So that's kind of exciting sometimes too.
Well, it's a lesson to the networks. Leave the writers alone. Let them do their vision, and you might actually get something that's interesting and unique. Oh, and just before we move on, what about the woman with the fake lips?
Oh my God! Yeah, are you kidding me? Well, she won the Emmy also, and if you haven't seen her Emmy speech for season 1, she immediately interrupts herself, and she's so flabbergasted. Then she goes, earlier today I took a lavender bath, and it's just bloated me. I'm swole up, and my dress is so tight. And then they try to play her off, and she dances instead. It's worth seeing. It's on YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome. What's her name?
Yeah. Oh yeah, from Best in Show and everything. You're not going to get names out of me today.
She's so good. By the way, we were kicking back with the kids the other night, and they were like, all right, show us a movie we should see. And I thought it would be fun, since we live in Venice, to watch the Doors movie. And you know what? It fucking holds up.
Really?
It's really good. Val Kilmer as Jim Morrison is dead on. And he actually sings all the songs himself.
Oh, wow.
Meg Ryan is charming as shit. And it's, it was very sexual. It was a little weird. Some of the scenes were a little sexual with Jennifer Coolidge is the woman's name.
Yes.
So I highly recommend go back and watch the Doors movie.
I don't have much memory of it. And what's his name directed it, right?
Oliver Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, it's worth, even if you don't agree with him, like on JFK or something, it's still worth seeing like everything he's done. And he's one of the writers of it also, which is interesting.
But it was interesting because it really was what a band is supposed to be. It was a bunch of like fucking deadbeat poet musicians that met on the beach and just started jamming, and it was so organic, and they rose pretty fast from when they first
I didn't
started.
know that.
I mean, he just had so much charisma. It was crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Florida.
Okay.
Make America Florida.
All right. This was sent in. What a gift from Elizabeth Brown.
She's a friend of the show.
Here we go. A man was arrested after having sex with a golden doodle. Okay. It happens. This alone, I don't think would make it a Florida man, Florida man worthy. But I actually didn't read the whole sentence, and I'm not kidding. All of this is totally true. So the whole sentence, not the whole sentence. Here we go. I'm going to continue. A man was arrested after having sex with a golden doodle in front of kids.
Oh,
okay.
That's not cute. That's not cute.
It is warmer. It is getting closer to a bona fide Florida man story. But again, I did not finish the sentence. Quote, a man was arrested after having sex with a golden doodle in front of kids before wrecking a church's Christmas nativity scene.
Yes.
Now, this is full on Florida man. But guess what? I can sweeten the Florida pot even more because, believe it or not, it's not the last detail. Here we go. Quote, a man was arrested after having sex with a golden doodle in front of kids. This is like the 12 Days of Christmas. Was having sex with a golden doodle in front of kids before wrecking the church's Christmas nativity scene and then trying to steal a car.
Oh.
There
fuck the golden doodle in
is.
front of the kids. Wrecked nativity scene. Stole a car.
Crashed the car into a cop. Yeah.
This is definitely year-end Florida Man Award nominee.
Yes, I think so.
The only thing missing is some methamphetamines and an alligator.
Maybe the investigation's not over. We don't know. We don't know what he has at home.
That is huge. This guy, I mean, he was driven. There's certain guys that are fuck-ups, but to keep on going with it, there definitely was meth involved.
he did sort of start big. It was hard to follow.
Yeah.
Some of the crimes up top were quite serious. So, yeah, it was a soft landing with the stolen car, I think.
Although if you're going to have sex with a dog, Golden Doodle is at the top of the list.
Yeah, because there might not be as much allergens,
Right.
It's like, right? They're hypoallergenic to some extent, I think. All right, this next Florida man story was sent in from Toby Lester. Authorities say an off-duty Florida deputy, quote, jokingly pointed his gun at a fellow deputy, thinking the weapon was unloaded, and shot and killed him. Oh, my God. Brevard County Sheriff's Office Deputy Austin Walsh was at his Palm Bay home with his roommate, Andrew Lawson, who's also a deputy. It was early Saturday morning when Walsh suffered a single gunshot wound. The pair had been playing online games and were taking a break and talking when Lawson allegedly pointed his firearm at Walsh and shot him in what Ivy called an extremely dumb and totally avoidable accident.
Yeah.
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 I think so.
The police looked into it, but when they saw that Walsh was white, they went ahead with the investigation.
It is perfectly Florida. Why would you ever point a gun at someone else?
Especially a police officer. Like, they're the ones that are teaching. Oh, my. You remember when the cop came to the school and he was teaching gun safety to some kids and he shot his gun across the fucking classroom?
No, there was also a guy, I think he shot part of his foot, I think.
Oh, right. That's right. That's right.
Alec Baldwin, however, is blaming the production of his movie for this gunshot also.
Well, I guess they're cops. That's they trade in gunplay. That's it. It's like when comics are hanging out backstage and we shit on each other. Sometimes people get hurt, but it's what we do.
You know who's not going to shoot each other? Robot cops.
Right.
They will not, Greg.
Yep.
All right. I
let's
love
get
the
to some
sports
sports
update. Let's do it.
All right, I'm getting fucking killed. As you know, we do a bet every year. I take the Buccaneers in every game of the season with points, which is always the Bucs giving points. And $50 a game, I am down $250.
I love it. My
Last
theory
week-
is holding water.
Last week, the Bucs crazy comeback. In the last 3 minutes, they get
Yep.
2 touchdowns but they didn't cover the spread. They won by like 1 point, and I think the
Exactly.
spread was like 3 points.
Yep, I think 3.5, something like that. Yeah.
Oh God.
This week you're getting 3.5 points, I think.
Yes, but we're playing the 49ers in San Francisco. They're a good team, and so my gut says I should up the bet so I can try to break even. I'm down 250, and I'm thinking maybe I should bet 100 this week instead of 50. Would you be down for that?
I'll take your $100, sir. And we'll post the spread at game time because I guess there's a lot of I don't know but Chris, our producer, was talking that it's a very new quarterback, right?
Yeah, the quarterback got injured last week, and there's a guy who's brand new. He has not taken a lot of snaps in the NFL.
But he played last week and might have won, I think Chris said. Anyway, so let's see where the spread. Well, our agreement anyway is this. It's the spread at kickoff. So yes, $100. Let's do it.
Okay. WNBA star Brittney Griner is free Thursday after the Biden administration negotiated her
God.
release from a Russian penal colony. Penal colony? There's no men in there. In exchange for an arms dealer. Biden signed off on the trade, which took place in the United Arab Emirates, even though it meant leaving behind Paul Whelan, an American corporate security executive who remains jailed in Russia. She's safe on a plane on her way home. Brittney Griner's wife, Sherelle Griner, was in the Oval Office with Biden when the two were able to speak by phone. Wife? Jesus Christ, when the Russians realized she was gay, they locked her up all over again.
And this story will officially mark the last time the WNBA is in the news.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she wants to go from being in the public eye back into the quiet obscurity of being the biggest star in the WNBA.
How about that other guy who's still in jail there? What an insult.
Yeah.
How does Biden defend that?
Well, it's such a layup for conservatives to say, how do you bring home this woman who like took a knee during the national anthem and actually committed a crime by having pot over there?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we got this patriotic American. He was a Marine, and they're going to town on this story.
Terrible trade. I mean, an arms dealer. And he had something like the Merchant of Death or something. That was his nickname.
Yeah.
Like he's a prolific arms dealer.
Right.
Not a good trade. It's never really a great trade when the WNBA is involved.
An argument between two men over a golf game led one golfer to bite the nose off the other one in the parking lot of a casino.
What?
Mark Wells of Biloxi fled the scene in a Tesla before turning himself in. The nose was not found. The investigation determined that the suspect bit the nose off the victim. Officers were told that Wells and the victim had been arguing throughout the day over a golf game they played at the resort's course. Wells was charged with felony mayhem. There's a word you don't hear a lot. Mayhem. That's what biting a nose off is. It's
a
mayhem.
legal term, felony mayhem. Oh, boy. They
This
didn't
sounds
find
like
the
it
nose.
should be
No, yeah.
This sounds like it should be in the good news for Gibbons section because it's a matter of time.
Yeah, he's bending clubs around trees and stuff. That's the gateway. That's the gateway mayhem that will lead to nose biting. Maybe it's good that they can't find that. It's like habeas corpus, like unless he's on camera. Maybe his Tesla filmed the crime.
Right.
That would be a backfire.
Well, either way,
Biting
I smell
a guy's nose off. What?
Yeah, I smell a lawsuit coming out of this. The victim doesn't, but I sure do.
I think he must have just bit the end of the nose off, I imagine. That's disgusting.
Looks like someone's got a new handicap. What is the whole that phrase, bite your nose to spite your face? Bite your nose or cut your nose? Cut your nose off to spite your face? I never got that phrase. What does it mean?
Yeah. It means you're hurting yourself. Like, don't hurt yourself, I think. I'm going to look it up. You start talking about this fucking Grant Wall death, man. What the fuck?
All right. This is crazy. And this is a breaking story because we recorded this on Saturday, the 10th of December. And it just came out that Grant Wall, a highly regarded soccer journalist who wrote extensively on the game, died Friday in Qatar, where he was covering the World Cup. And I think he died right on the field. U.S.
I thought
media,
he was in custody, maybe.
U.S. media seated near him said Wall fell back in his seat in the stadium reserved for journalists during extra time. They called for assistance. Emergency workers responded, and they were told he died. Earlier in the tournament, Wall attracted attention for attending the game between Wales and the United States wearing a rainbow T-shirt in support of LGBTQ rights. Homosexuality is criminalized in Qatar, and some fans wearing rainbows on their clothing or carrying rainbow flags have been questioned by stadium security guards. His brother's gay, by the way.
They don't like that over there either.
Wall wrote that security guards at the stadium detained him for 25 minutes, telling him his shirt was political and that he needed to take it off. Wall refused, and eventually a security supervisor apologized and let him into the stadium. I think he also had just written a piece where he detailed the death of a foreign worker that had built the stadium.
So there's incentive. There's motive, as they say.
There's a lot of motive and a very weird death.
Sounds terrible, this story. I'm sure it's going to be huge news this coming week. Yeah, it's so crazy. All right, back to cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's funny. So the first thing under Google, if you say that, you're doing something that they think will hurt someone without realizing or caring that it will hurt themselves as well. But then I read, cutting off one's nose to spite one's face is an expression used to describe a needlessly self-destructive overreaction to a problem. But most are saying it's that you're doing something that is meant to harm someone else, but that also harms the person who does it. But you're trying to spite your own face. That's what's confusing about that.
Yeah, how is cutting your own nose off hurting somebody else?
Yeah, they're saying to cause problems for yourself by trying to punish someone else.
And I always thought it was cut your nose off despite your face. But it's to spite your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very strange. I wonder what the history of that is.
Yeah, it's about revenge that causes more harm to you than your target. Anyway, weird expression, not worth using.
All right, let's go to international.
Do it.
A hospital patient has been arrested after she allegedly twice switched off the oxygen equipment on which a fellow patient depended because it was too noisy. The public prosecutor's office in the German city of Mannheim obtained a warrant for the 72-year-old woman's arrest. She turned off the main switch of the oxygen equipment around 8 p.m. on Tuesday, quote, after feeling disturbed by the noise emanating from it. Although the suspect was informed by hospital staff that the oxygen supply was a vital measure, she allegedly turned off the device again at around 9 p.m. The 79-year-old woman had to be resuscitated and is still receiving intensive emergency care. You'd think Germany would have quieter medical equipment, you know?
This woman was using it like a snooze button. Like, it's on again. I got to turn that off.
Yeah.
There's that sound trying to wake me up again.
The noise from the oxygen machine went away, but she had to contend with the gagging and screams for help. Which is louder? Coin toss.
I think to a German, I think the hissing. The hissing is a little louder than the screams for help.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of a unique thing. Normally, when you kill someone in Germany, historically, you're turning on the gas. So it's surprising they caught her at all turning it off.
She was making amends. Yes. All right.
Oh,
good
my
one.
God.
Let's go to, do we want this? Yeah, let's do this one. Science.
All right. Blinded.
You want to read it?
A secret report by NASA suggests that missions to Mars could be all female. Speaking at a conference, good luck. They're going to get lost 4 times and they're not going to know how to park there. Okay. Speaking at a conference, British astronaut Helen Sharman claimed that NASA has filed a report that warns that male and female astronauts could get frisky during the 1.5-year journey to the red planet. The report claims that all female crews would be the best option as women work better as a team and are less likely than men to fight over who is the leader. I really doubt that. Anyway, she suggested that there had been an official NASA study looking at the, quote, impure thoughts astronauts may experience during a mission to Mars. The journey to Mars is expected to take 1.5 years, during which time astronauts will be exposed to high amounts of radiation. If 2 astronauts were to get frisky and the female fell pregnant. That's weird. It is unclear what the effect on the baby would be.
A radiation baby. I smell a Marvel franchise.
Yeah, I'm sure. But by the way, has NASA ever watched The Real Housewives? Yeah, women get along all the time. And what other data do you have? I don't know. So many successful moon missions where everyone knew who the boss was on the trip.
Right.
Yeah.
And first of all, impure thoughts in space? Have you seen the outfits they wear? The only thing less sexy is a hazmat suit.
That is true.
And where do you fuck? Where do you fuck in a capsule, a space capsule?
Listen.
The wet spot would be floating around the cabin.
That is true. I wonder if it's harder to get pregnant in zero gravity.
Yeah.
There's no like, whatever it is, putting your feet above your head like women who are desperate to get pregnant, people trying to have a baby.
Trying to fall
None of that.
pregnant.
You can't use gravity.
Yeah.
Here you go. Listen, you can send men and women. Easy solution. Just have all the women be trans women.
Oh, I like it.
And also they can have as many impure thoughts as they want. And they can do it.
Right.
That's it. Done.
Trans women.
And now what criticism could they come back with? Like, no, we're talking about women. It's like, so am I.
Yeah. My head spins when I just try to think about that. All trans women. Because I always wonder, like, are trans women gay? It's not, and then people yell at you. Well, they're not always.
Well, no, it's gender identity, not sexual preference. Yeah. So
Right.
that's independent.
Right.
But I think, like prison, a year and a half into this trip, you'll be like, all right, what do you got?
Right.
Let's figure something out here. We need relief.
Yeah. All right, let's go to this day in history.
All right, now.
In 2008, billionaire con man Bernard Madoff was arrested.
Oh,
Arrested in New York City. A long-running Ponzi scheme involved $65 billion. The biggest investment fraud in Wall Street history. He was born in Queens in 1938, started a small trading firm, and then he worked as a lifeguard with money. He started with money he earned as a lifeguard. 2 decades later, he revolutionized the way stocks are traded, had grown into one of the largest independent trading operations in the securities industry, and he and his family lived a life of luxury, owning multiple homes, boats, and expensive artwork and jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, his clients were sent account statements showing consistently high and fraudulent returns. Potential new customers clamored for Madoff to invest their money. However, in 2008, with the U.S. economy in crisis, Madoff's financial swindle began to fall apart as his clients took out money faster than he could bring in fresh cash. On December 10th, he revealed to his brother and his 2 sons, who worked for the legitimate arm of the firm, that his investment advisory business was a fraud and nearly bankrupt. His sons turned in their father to federal authorities, put him on $10 million bail. The victims included everyone from his wealthy country club acquaintances, Hollywood celebrities, banks, hedge funds, universities, charities.
The New York Mets.
The Charitable Foundation of Holocaust survivor and Nobel Prize winner Elie Wiesel lost more than $15 million. Oh.
That's crazy. Well, we won't name names, but a friend of ours was involved. His grandfather had a bunch of money with the Madoffs. And here's let me see if I can remember this correctly. This is adding insult to injury. It's not only that they lost all this money, but if you ever along the run had taken some out, which was your money, in other words, let's say you gave $100,000, right? Or more. And, at one point you take a payment of $20,000 or whatever. I mean, that's not even the profit in theory. That's still the base. So you not only lost all your money, you have to pay the lawsuit back the money. Any money you've taken. And which was, you had a right to, and you spent it already and everything. And you have to find that money and pay it back because the creditor list, the list forms and there's an order. And I don't know if they're using first in, first out. I don't know how they're doing it, but other creditors might be ahead of you and you have to pay so that this lawsuit can pay them back. Yeah.
So there was no getting out. Even if you got out, you're not out.
Oh, if you got out, you were absolutely still in.
Wow. Yeah, our friend who lived a very carefree bachelor life because the money came from his grandparents, and he had some kind of trust fund set up, and this guy
Yeah.
was just living the life, never had a job our whole adult lives.
And then what I heard was at one point, I don't know why he told us this, but he's like, it's a guaranteed 17%. And I'm like, there's no such thing on planet
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it is. And so another friend of ours took him up on it. Another friend would make a lot of money every summer, took him up on it, put it in with the understanding he's just going to put it in for, I think, a year, get 17%. And that's what he did and got it and checked out. I have no idea about his involvement with this lawsuit or if it was ever called back. It was not a lot of money, though, but it was to a 20-year-old.
Damn.
Yep.
All right, let's do some letters to the editor.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, a couple saw, huh? Oh, it's a news story. A couple saw packages discarded on the side of the road. They delivered the parcels themselves. USA Today. I guess FedEx had dumped some packages. Looks like Gibbons' brother left Amazon for FedEx and got caught dumping his load. 2 different FedEx drivers busted. One dumped 7 packages on the side of the road in Ohio. Another 400 in a landfill. Made me laugh to read this since I also would love a job moving red balls back and forth with my ADHD and can imagine getting very overwhelmed as a package delivery driver.
Yep.
So,
What if he stole them? I wonder how much more serious the charges would be.
as opposed to dumping them?
Yeah,
Interesting point.
I know. Dumping them seems so much better than stealing them. It's not good, don't get me wrong, but it's not illegal, is it? It's against company policy.
You could
Well, maybe
maybe
it's illegal because it's you're messing with the mail.
Yeah, I wonder if they're under the same federal statutes as the post office since they're a
I
private
doubt it.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dogs H is this guy's name. Here's a joke from that show. Oh, he's talking about the Catskills on Broadway show with the great Freddie Roman was in.
All right.
Here's a joke from that show. It was either Dick Capri or Malzy Lawrence. I come home every night and my wife's made meatloaf for dinner. I tell her, you make meatloaf one more time, you won't see me for a week. She made meatloaf and she didn't see me for a week. But after about 7 days, the swelling went down and she could see me just a little. I remember that joke from the show. And I can't remember if it was Dick Capri or Malzy. I mean, those guys, the shit they got away with was crazy.
There used to be so many jokes. It was ridiculous on beating women. It's so absurd.
Oh my God.
Remember the joke? Remember there was a joke. What do all beaten or battered wives have in common? They don't listen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine doing that joke seriously.
But think about this joke. He didn't just smack her. He beat her so hard that her eyes swelled shut.
For
That's barbaric.
7 days
For 7 days.
because of meatloaf.
Oh, God. All right, let's get to the Help Wanted section.
I love this new section.
Looking for a Santa at Snowy Pines Christmas trees. Compensation $17 an hour plus tips.
Oh, I think
We're-
JoJo's gonna head down there.
We're looking to fill this position from 4 to 9 p.m. on Friday and 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. We're a laid-back and friendly Christmas tree lot, hoping to find our Santa for the December season. In addition to your hourly rate, you will be allowed to keep tips. Your roles will include greeting customers who enter our lot, as well as taking pictures with families, and hand out the occasional candy cane. Please respond via email or text with interest. We'll get back to you. Caleb. Text number 562-607-5693.
And did
So
you
if-
mention this is in Long Beach, California?
It's in Long Beach, if you're in that area.
That
wanna be
is well, now it's going to be raining. I don't want to discourage people from applying, but boy, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., that's a long day in a Santa. But you can make it fun. Show up with a big red umbrella.
Yep.
People still got to buy trees.
I wonder if they do background checks on these guys because they are in direct contact with little kids. There's a lot of laps involved in this job.
I don't think you should have brought that up. I don't know. Independent Santa contractor, right?
Yeah. There's always a lot of jobs at Christmas. I remember that coming home from college. I'd always find some kind of weird job. I wrapped presents one year at a store in town.
Yeah, I did FAO Schwartz that time. And then, yeah, there's a lot of seasonal. We'll remember, and what's his name? Holidays on Ice, wasn't it? His book where he played the elf at Macy's.
Oh, David Sedaris?
Yeah, David Sedaris' book, Holidays on Ice, I think it's called.
No, it was called Santaland Diaries.
Oh, why do I have Holidays on Ice? Maybe there was a collection down the road. Anyway, yes, that was great.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the obituaries.
Oh, sad one.
You want to read this one?
Oh, all right. Kirstie Alley, the Emmy-winning star of Cheers, Veronica's Closet, and Look Who's Talking, died. She was 71. Alley had a previously undiagnosed battle with cancer. Alley had a previously undisclosed battle with cancer, though she had a number of notable roles in the 80s, including part in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and a 13-episode stint in Masquerade. Alley was perhaps best known for her breakout role on Cheers as Rebecca Howe from 1987 to 1993. Alley was also well known for playing the leading role in Veronica's Closet from Friends creator David Crane and Marta Kaufman. All right, what else here? Oh, she was in the reality show Fat Actress. She also appeared in The Hills, King of Queens, so many other sitcom roles. She starred in many films, Look Who's Talking with John Travolta, and all of its sequels. Runaway Summer School, yeah.
And then
it is in there, Deconstructing Harry. Well, listen, I'll say this. First of all, it's impossible to find this movie because Woody Allen has been canceled. But you also can't find Zelig, which is an amazing Woody Allen film, and it's not streaming anywhere. But Deconstructing Harry, she steals the show, and it's a powerhouse cast. Yeah. She does one thing all comedians and comedy writers, as I've seen the is we all know and everyone knows who the great screamers are, and there have been amazing stand-up screamers and actors. She screams in this movie out of rage. It's one of the funniest performances in any Woody Allen movie. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
She was so great in it. I just want to give a shout out to her for that movie, which hardly anyone has seen.
I guess she died and maybe would have survived if she hadn't been under the influence of Dianetics. And they're against medical treatment. I'm just saying that off the top of my head. I don't know if that's true, but I did read that in one article that people were blaming Dianetics for not providing her with the right care.
Oh, geez.
Speaking of Veronica's Closet, did I ever tell you about my audition for Veronica's Closet?
I think this is one of my favorite stories ever.
All right, so I get a call from my agent, and he goes, all right, there's this new sitcom. It's a pilot, and the character is Kirstie Alley's assistant. Now, the character is gay, but they don't want you to play it gay. And I go, I don't know what that means. And he goes, well, this is the days when I used to when I'd get an audition. This is before faxes and the internet. I used to have to drive to Beverly Hills, park, walk into my agency. They'd hand me the scripts, and then I would drive home again and learn the lines. And so I'm trying to figure out how to play it. And I go, you know what? I'm just going to fucking play it as myself. And I see what happens. So I go in, I read for the producers. I felt good about the read. And the producer goes, okay, that was great. Let's try it again. Little less gay.
Imagine how confused you are at that moment.
I needed to take a time out.
You couldn't even figure out how to do it like they asked, and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to be me. Here it goes.
Yeah. And then I see the show once it gets on the air. Typical Hollywood. The guy is floating out of his shoes. He's so gay.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Over the top.
Oh, totally. I remember that guy in that role. He was one of the writers. I'm never going to remember his name. He was one of the writers from Larry Sanders. He played a writer.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
On camera in
Yep.
Larry Sanders. And it was very different. Like that, he really turned it on for that role. Because he was such a believable, disgruntled, slovenly writer on Larry Sanders.
Yeah, he was like Bob Odenkirk's friend on Larry Sanders. They were always in it together. All right, let's cheer up a little bit with the Sunday Funnies.
Yeah. I'll also say about, Kirstie Alley, just one note. Cheers was the biggest show on television, and then you had a very well-known departure, and everyone thought the show couldn't survive. And same with Woody Harrelson came in to replace Coach, and that happened, I think, that was earlier on. But then...
who was the actress that left, Mike?
Shelley Long.
All right, good.
Left, and then Kirstie Alley, those were it was Sam and Diane, man, that show, and there were huge shoes to fill, and she did it, and did it so well, and the show had a second life after that.
Yep.
So, anyway.
The funnies were not funny this week. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some weeks I go in and I can't find much. But the Lockhorns one was kind of cute. It's I just loved the drawing, which you have to. Hopefully you're watching this show on YouTube. Leroy is at a party and he's got a drink in his hand. His leg is kicked in the air. He's got a lampshade on his head and his tongue is hanging out. And he's dancing with this beautiful, voluptuous woman. And Loretta goes, "Leroy's available if you ever need a birthday clown."
He is kicking it up.
It's just so funny because he goes from being this fucking tub of lard that just sits around in an armchair watching TV, but as soon as this guy gets to a party, he's fucking fun.
David Dravanak sent in one of my favorite Far Sides of all time. So here's the Far Side. A spaceship has landed. You saw staircases come out of the spaceship. You see all the aliens at the top of the stairs, but one alien has fallen down the stairs and fallen on his head, and he's on the bottom on the ground. And then there are people around. All these humans are watching, and the quote is, "Wonderful, just wonderful. So much for instilling them with a sense of awe." Oh no, that's what the alien is saying up top. Right. I know the one I'm going to use next week. It's another one kind of like that. But David also used to do cartoons himself, and he sent us a bunch. And I grabbed this one. I kind of liked it. It's a waiter in a restaurant, and you see a blue-faced patron who's holding his neck, and he's clearly got his steak that he's eating caught in his throat. But the waiter is very impatient, pointing to a sign that says non-choking. So it's like a non-smoking table at the time. And so anyway, thanks, David, for sending this in.
All right, let's get to Blondie, where Dagwood. Why do I not have a nickname for Dagwood yet? That insults
I think you usually call him Fuckface.
Fuckface is sitting in the blue chair, sitting there.
Dipshit. You do have a lot of nicknames for him.
I mean, he's just... she's faced away from him, which is their standard position in the TV room. And she goes, "I know what you're thinking." And he goes, "What am I thinking?" She goes, "You're thinking about the nice selection of cold cuts we picked up from the deli this morning. You're also thinking about the fresh loaf of sourdough bread we picked up from the bakery." And he goes, that wasn't at all what I was thinking about. And then he goes, but now that's all I can think about. And she goes, "I'm pretty sure there's some chips and salsa you can grab while you're at it." First of all, if I'm sitting next to Blondie, you want to guess my thoughts? Guess my thoughts, Blondie.
I think
try to picture what's going through my head.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the smooth cheeks of your ass, just in the shower with droplets of water coming down your rosy, plump thighs and across your bowling pin calves onto your sexy little feet with the red toenail polish. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about throwing a move because it's Saturday afternoon. The kids aren't home. We got nothing going on. And I got the hottest piece of ass on the East Coast. But no, he's thinking about fucking deli meat.
He wasn't even thinking of anything, I don't think.
Yeah, there
and
was
then
nothing.
she planted the thoughts. Yeah.
There was nothing in his head at all. Just a complete blank. Just a zero. How do you even write a cartoon strip where one of the characters has no personality? She drives everything. Jesus. I'm just sad she's sitting with her body away from you. You can't even see her on this one.
I know. What a tease. What a tease.
All right, listen, Mike, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Or it's Saturday, but it's going to be Sunday. We hope you guys are having a nice weekend. We hope you're enjoying some World Cup soccer and some football.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. Thanks to Midcoast Media, Chris Denman, and Key, and Beth, and John for doing a great job producing the show, getting it out to you guys, even though last week our video clip didn't go up for some reason, but we're going to find out what's going on over there.
Well, I sent a corrupt file apparently, but
you did?
That's what I was told. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, yeah, it was obviously corrupted when it got there, but I resent it and hopefully it worked. Oh, it did work. Chris listened to it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Have fun in Nashville.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're going out seeing a little music tonight, so that'll be fun. And then go San Francisco. Go Niners.
Go Bucks.
That's what I'm promoting.
Let's do it.
$100, whatever the spread is. Right now, I think it's 3.5. Given to the Bucks, I think.
I'm not feeling good about it, but I feel like I can't be down 250. It's too much.
Oh, imagine when you're down 350.
Oh.
Holy moly.
Jesus.
Oh, my God. All righty. I think this is where we say, take it easy.
Take it easy.
All right.
Sunday is funny. Monday is crummy. Wednesday is shitty. Thursday it's all the same. Friday it's fun. Saturday it's funner. Sunday it's funny. I can't remember. Sunday Papers podcast with your host Greg and Mike. Something you know when you come. Thursday I'm all alone. It's Sunday Papers. It's Saturday, here we come. It's Sunday Papers. And Sunday's always fun.